Guys, so I just took the biggest L on a Turo rental vehicle. Okay. And I just want to share this story with you so that you don't make the same mistake that I have made. Okay. So even thinking about it makes me want to laugh. You know, when sometimes the situation is just so absurd that all you can do is laugh? That's how I feel right now. Anyways, so let me tell you the story. Um, it, just to give you some background, I run a small Turo fleet. I manage about three vehicles, and I just do it on the side, as a side gig or side business. And lately, it's been going well. I recently hit trip number 100, and I went 100 trips without any issues, which to me is mind blowing. Okay. I haven't had any damages, any guests that wanted to steal my car. I haven't had any of those issues. Okay. But then, trip number 101 is where the issue started. I don't know if maybe in Turo's algorithm, they just decide to, put you on easy mode for the first 100 guests, and then your 101 guess is the problem. I don't know how it works. But I just found it interesting that my 101 trip turned out to be my worst trip yet. Okay. So let me tell you what happened. Um, I recently purchased a third car for my tour rental business. And on its very first trip, it had an issue. I didn't even get the chance to, you know, have the first trip go perfectly fine, have the car come back. It just the very first trip, which to me is mind blowing. So what happened was I got a request for, a booking. First of all, the guest was late, super late, like an hour and a half late. And usually I basically have like a lockbox or some type of mechanism where I can remotely lock the car or unlock the car so I don't have to be there to, give the guests the keys and everything. But in this situation, I really wanted to be there to give the guests the key because I wanted a 5-star rating for my first trip. Usually if someone goes onto your profile and then they see that you have a negative rating, that will affect the rest of your experience with that specific car. So I wanted to make sure that the very first trip, was a 5-star trip. And so I waited about an hour and a half so that I can meet the guests face to face, have a little chat, whatever, anything to help get that 5-star rating. And the guest came, took the car, and anyways, let me fast forward to the actual issue. The guest sends me a message on the day that they're supposed to return the car saying, "Man, I just wanted to let you know that I noticed a minor damage on the rear bumper during my rental period. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I wanted to inform you right away. I sincerely apologize for the situation and for any inconvenience this may cause you. I understand how important it is to return a vehicle in the same condition. I truly regret this happening. Blah, blah, blah. I'll be submitting." Anyways, so you get the gist. The guest damaged the car. And to me, I was thinking, okay, well, no big deal. Um, it seems like the damage is a small damage. It might even be something that I can fix myself without going through the whole insurance thing. Okay. And I've done it before. I fixed a bumper before. And if you're actually interested in the whole process of fixing a car's bumper, so you don't have to spend so much money on fixing a bumper. I'll put the link of the video somewhere around. So basically, the guest lets me know that they've damaged the car, and he tells me he didn't want to let me know as soon as the damage happened because he didn't want me like stressing about it until the last day, or which is understandable. I don't want to stress over something that I can't control until I need to know. Anyways, so Turo gives me an option saying, do you want to deal with this directly with a guest, or do you want to deal with it through Turo? Okay. And mind you, if I deal with it through the guest, the maximum I can claim is probably like $500. But if I deal with it through Turo, I can claim a higher amount. Okay. So then I decide, I'll do it through Turo. That was my first mistake. So the claim process starts. At first, I was thinking, okay, this is taking a little bit longer than expected. And then I get a call one day, and it's Turo, and you're saying, well, we have good news for you and we have bad news. Okay, I'm only expecting good news. So Turo then goes to ask me, do you want good news or bad news first? I'm like, okay, well, let's just go with the good news. And then they tell me, well, the good news is, your damage claim was approved for $1,600 or blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good news, because that damage I can fix by myself for probably less than $200 or $100. If they're willing to give me $1,600 for $100 or $200 fix, I'm more than happy for that. And then you're like, okay, well, the bad news is we've kicked your car off the platform. I'm like, what? I mean, how could things escalate so quickly? And then they go on to mention that, well, the car has had a previous damage, which rendered it as a total loss, and so forth and so. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, when I purchased this car on the Carfax, it said this car has not been rebuilt. It doesn't have a salvage title. It doesn't have any of those requirements. Basically what you need to check before you put your car into Turo. It doesn't have any issues. And then a Turo representative goes on to tell me that, yeah, I mean, this is something that happens every once in a while, but essentially, sometimes you might purchase a car, and then on the Carfax, it won't reflect the updated information until maybe like a month later or something like that. And I'm just in disbelief, because I put money towards this car, and now this car is not going to be making me money back, which was the whole point of it, to make sure that I'm buying a car which is not going to be a liability, but instead going to be an asset, something that produces money for me. And so I'm thinking, oh man, this dealership that I got this car from, they really mess shit up, because how is it that I purchased the car and I'm thinking everything is cool, but it's really not. And at this point, there's nothing that I can do. If it's on the record, it's on the record that it was a total loss. And so at that point, I'm just baffled, because something that I could have just easily canceled the trip, okay? Or even when the damage occurred, I could have just easily said, okay, well, I'll work it out between you and I, and then whatever. We don't have to go through Turo. But the fact that everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, especially on the very first trip for the car, I just thought this is just odd. And another odd thing was that the day after this whole news, my dad's car got into some type of an accident, okay, which meant that he couldn't use his car anymore. And essentially, now he was basically starting to take, he was thinking of taking Uber to work every day. And realistically, I was just thinking to myself, like, I can't have my dad taking Uber to work every day if I have a car sitting here. Okay. So then I decided, I'll just let him have the car and then he can use it. Originally, I was thinking about selling the car, but then I figured, if he needs it, I might as well just give it to him. Okay. And I know for a fact that he would be more than happy to use the car. He actually told me that he's very proud and happy that I was able to give him this car. And I know deep down that what he really wanted is probably an SUV, but the car that I gave him was a sedan. Okay, so eventually he'll probably want to switch cars, and if when he switches cars, then I'll probably go and sell that car. But it's just funny how everything worked out. But I'm still pissed, man. If I say I'm not hurt, I'll be lying. But yeah, so in short, if you purchase a car and it shows that there's been some type of accident or some type of damage on the car, and you look at the quote that was provided for that damage and it looks suspiciously high, but the car says the Carfax says it was never rebuilt or whatever, you'll never know when or what could happen that would result in your car being unlisted. And also, if you can go into private rentals, do so. You shouldn't be relying on these platforms. You never know when they'll switch up the rules or when they'll do something that would negatively impact you or when they will go bankrupt. Okay. So for this reason, I myself, I'm starting to slowly look into getting into a private rental business. Okay. I got the website up and everything. Because realistically, if I was doing this as a private rental, I don't need to abide by any of these strict policies that Turo has. And also, I don't need to give Turo any of my cut. Okay. I actually made a video regarding the true profit, how much you actually make from Turo when you factor in depreciation and everything. I'm building a software that you can use to calculate all of this. So if you're a host, I think this would be absolutely critical for you or necessary to at least get a clear picture of how much you're actually making from Turo. If you're interested in that, I have the video here. You can go and watch that. And also, just let me know your thoughts, okay? If you've had any wild, crazy Turo stories, I'm interested to hear. You can leave that in the comments. All right, so that's all. Have a good day.